Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night is from Duquesne basketball, and this cannot be good, Jeff. All they tweet is final score could be found on ESPN. They ended up losing to St. Peter's, so they're off to a really bad start under a new head coach and a new program, essentially. Your thoughts on that tweet? That's an interesting tweet that you don't see often.
No, whoever runs their social media must have just been like, all right, I'm not going to put this out here. I think Drew Joyce is a good coach. I think he will be successful. But, man, he's facing adversity right off, right from the beginning. And, man, if he doesn't get that righted, the A-10's a pretty good conference, and it could be a long year for Duquesne.
Yeah, I always think the A-10 is much better than people give it credit for, and you see that as the season wears on. We'll get to Pitt basketball in a second because they're doing well, and Jeff called a great game the other day in Columbus. I'll talk to him in a second about that, but we got a lot of calls. I want to get to them real quick. Chuck in Uniontown. Chuck, how are you tonight?
Well, nice to talk to you again, fellas.
You too.
Just quickly, your thoughts on the Pirates not retaining Aronis Chapman?
What do you think, Chuck?
Well, it's just, to me, it's just another critical point that they failed. I mean, pay nothing, do nothing, win nothing. What are you going to do? Have Bednar throw games away in the late innings again?
Yeah, I mean that's not a good. And with Bednar being up and down, and hopefully he can get it back together. I thought bringing him back was going to be a rather easy call. Now I don't know what his intentions were, Jeff, but it's the same salary basically. You did it once. Why wouldn't you do it again? Middle of the season, he was dynamic. I think for the Pirates.
No, I agree. I mean, he had a slow start, and then he came on and was electric for really a stretch of the back half of the season. I mean, it is free agency, so he could sign wherever he wants. He might think that Boston has a better chance to win. I don't know. Actually, I think you could make the argument the Pirates have a better chance to win given the division that Boston is in. But to say that I know what goes on in Aroldis Chapman's head would be a big stretch. But listen, he was valuable. You would have liked to have seen him. Let's see what else the Pirates come up with.
Yeah, they're going to have to come up with something, and it's about time because they have a good starting staff. Surround them with talent. Let's go to John in Cranberry. Hello, John. How are you tonight?
Hey, Bob and Jeff. It's good to see you. Jeff, it's good to see you on here again. So, you know what? I'm going to follow up, Chuck, with baseball again, believe it or not. What I wanted to talk about is the golden at-bat rule. I don't know if you guys saw that.
The proposal. It's not a rule yet. It's a proposal.
The proposal. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. You know, it's funny. I'm a baseball traditionalist, but I never thought I'd like the pitch clock. But I got to admit, I really do like it. I also like the coming of the automated strike zone. But this rule, the golden at-bat seems a little gimmicky. And I was wondering about it. If by chance they ever did it, could a guy bat 2 times in a row? Like if they brought somebody in?
Apparently so. So if you have Ohtani on your team, you know, I don't know how that works. If he gets a hit and he's on base, can you pinch run for him and have him bat again? That's how silly this could be. Here's my biggest concern about just, Jeff, and I'll get your opinion, is that there's already a massive gap between the haves and the have-nots because they have no salary cap or floor or a ceiling or anything. All this does is if you have guys like Aaron Judge, if you have guys and you need a home run, and if you have a chance to just say, okay, Aaron, come here. You're not due for 7 hitters yet, but we're going to put you in play right now with the bases loaded. It's not fair.
I think you should take this idea with the idea of having a ghost runner at second base in the 10th inning and flush it. I mean, they're both gimmicky. I mean, you know what else you could do? You could have a courtesy runner for every base runner. So if Andrew McCutchen gets to first base, you bring in a courtesy runner, and that guy could steal second and third, and then who knows, maybe home, because that way you rest McCutchen and you've got this track star that you could have as a runner. You could also bring a starting pitcher back into the game. Let's say a tough lefty comes in. You could have a left-hander come in, face that lefty, then you bring Paul Skeens back in the game, then you bring him back again in the 9th so he can get the win and the save. I mean, come on. The pitching staffs are set up for a reason. I heard Joe Starkey's argument. I appreciate his argument that it could be exciting. Sure. But it is way too gimmicky. And if you want to get gimmicky, let's go all in gimmicky. Let's do some of the things I mentioned. Let's have, instead of extra innings, let's have a home run derby to decide games in the 10th inning.
Like a shootout.
That would be
like
exciting.
An overtime 3-on-3 hockey, right?
Right.
May as
I
well.
mean, we could go down a long list of gimmicky things you could do. I love the pitch clock. I'm not necessarily a traditionalist, but man, I hate this side. It's just, it's too minor league baseball.
Yeah, I mean, there's some that are worth talking about, and I admire the fact that they're considering things, because in the past, I don't think they ever would have even gotten to this point. But that is, I'm with you on that. I understand what they're trying to create, these magical moments where this guy comes up with a huge hit, and you have your choice. Pick who you want. But listen, if you have Betts, if you have Freeman, if you have Ohtani, if you have all these kind of guys, and you try to send up, you know, all right, O'Neill, Cruz, anyone else? I mean, or anybody else who's at a disadvantage, it's just not fair. All right, let's go real quick to David in Washington. Hey, David, how are you tonight?
Great. Good evening, Bob and Jeff. Hey, 2 quick questions for you. Do you think the Pirates should consider signing Josh Bell as a free agent? And if Pitt makes the NCAA tournament, I'd like to hear each of your predictions. How many games do you think they could win in the tournament? I'll hang up and listen to your answer.
All right. It's early for that, but we'll get into it, David. As far as Josh Bell, I wouldn't have a problem with it, because I think they need an upgrade. They need something over there. As far as the tournament, Jeff, I want to compliment you on the game you did. The play-by-play of Ohio State Pitt went to overtime, whatever, comeback, and the game winner by Zach Austin. Net ratings have him 5 right now. I don't know, you know, they're 19 or 18, whatever it is in the regular polls, but they're certainly an oncoming team, and they have the kind of guard play. Whenever you have good guard play, you can do some good things. Your take.
Yeah, well, thank you, by the way. It was my honor to be able to sit in the seat that Bill Hillgrove sits in. I mean, that's
absolutely
just awesome. It was a lot of fun, and what a great win for them. An undermanned team being able to win on the road, a team with really good guards, who I think is going to be better than people think in the Big Ten. Listen, if Damian Dunn gets back and the rest, you know, stay healthy, I like this team. I think this team can advance in the NCAA tournament. A couple of rounds. I mean, we'll see what, you know, it depends on matchups. It always does in the NCAA tournament. But I believe in what Jeff Capel's doing. I believe in these guys and the way that they play and how hard that they play. Are they the most talented team? No. But do they play together? Man, this team plays together. And if they start getting more bench work like they did from Papa Conte in that Ohio State game, and they get other guys to contribute, this is a dangerous team.
Yeah, we saw Bub Carrington become a lottery pick in the NBA draft. Who knows? Some of these guys they're very talented players. We'll see how that goes. We're due for a break here, Jeff. When we come back, though, I want to talk about last night and Cleveland in a shootout at Denver, what that means for the Steelers on Sunday. That's when we come back right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. But Cleveland first up, and we saw them last night, Jeff. Man, Jameis Winston, you got the full Jameis Winston experience. He accounted for 6 touchdown passes, 4 for his team, 2 for the other. I get a feeling they're going to do that again. It seems for whatever reason they're not relying on Mr. Chubb as much this year.
No, it's amazing. What is it, 19 straight games now where they don't have a 100-yard rusher, which this is a team that was based on rushing for a long time. This reminded me of growing up in South Pi when Scotty Stewart would say, here's you, go this way, and I'm going to throw it deep. Every play. That's what it was like watching Denver-Cleveland last night. And I don't expect anything less from Jameis Winston. They're going to take shots. They're going to test Joey Porter. And, you know, Judy is just going to – he's going to try to go vertical as many times as he can. And if Winston has time, I mean, look out. It could be a long day. I mean, not saying that they're going to lose, but they're just taking chances. And in that game against Denver, a pretty good defense. They made a lot of big plays. But as you noted, the Winston factor of making just a couple of huge errors.
Yeah, no question about that. Meanwhile, we have a tweet here from Sean Kramer, who hit us up, and he says, hey, guys, watched Hard Knocks inside the AFC North. Good production, but Coach T is going to have to keep his locker room in control with all these extra cameras around, especially this time. Well, you know as well as I know, Jeff, that he does not like this kind of stuff. It's a big intrusion, but it has to be done. So I imagine he'll be throwing some Tomlin-isms. I haven't watched it tonight because I've been here, but I will. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but, you know, I mean, it is what it is. People like this kind of access, and they got cameras everywhere in all 4 of these, cities.
I hope they're not bored by what they see. I mean, I know there'll be some guys playing it up for the camera, and it will be cool, even for us, Bob. There are places that we've never been that we'll get to see. Remember this, every team has the final right of refusal, so that way they try to keep anything, any type of secrets or any type of game planning, away from other teams seeing what they're doing.
Right. I mean, what they want to see is the emotional stuff. When Mike Tomlin gets George Pickens and tries to talk him into keep your head on this game, like he did this past week, that kind of stuff, which I think people do understand and appreciate. All right, so real quick, Pitt's coming up against tomorrow, Mississippi State. Your thoughts on that one? That's a nice place to play, and it's a good ACC, SEC challenge.
Yeah, I think the guy's name's John Hubbard with Mississippi State. He's a 5'11 guard, averages like 19 a game. It's going to be another road challenge. 5 straight road games for this team, but like I said, I like this team. I like the way they're building. Then you get Virginia Tech, then you get a few non-conference games and go right into the schedule. I think they could run this month. I do.
I think the road games are good. It makes you a harder team to play against as the season moves on. Jeff, thanks as always. Appreciate your time tonight, man.
Thanks, Bob.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. We'll do it again tomorrow at 10:35. Always remember, call us on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Good night.